Welcome to the Deal by Me podcast, where we ask guests to tell us your story. Hello there, this is Dr. James W. Smith, your host. We seek to transform lives by encouraging and inspiring. So, when you listen to any of the Deal by Me podcast, please support this podcast with a donation or a monthly recurring amount for as little as $3. If you're viewing any of the podcast on YouTube, please subscribe. To supporters of this podcast, we say thank you. Check out my encouraging, inspiring, and transforming books that can be found on Amazon. I'm available for speaking engagements, in person, and virtual seminars. So please contact me by Facebook, X, and or LinkedIn. I have with me Dr. Cristina LePort, who is a renowned cardiologist and a respected author, known for her compelling medical thrillers that explore the high stakes of medical crises and moral conflicts. Born in Bologna, Italy, and now residing in Southern California, Dr. LaPorte combines her medical expertise with her narrative prowess to craft stories that are both informative and engaging. Oh, I'm so excited to have uh, Christina come and share with this podcast, and I know you will enjoy what she has to say. Interesting. So, uh, Dr. Christina, would you share a little bit about yourself and where you're located?
So thank you very much for having me, first of all. I was originally born in Italy, and I went to the University of Bologna Medical School. And after that, I came to the United States to do my internship and residency in Brooklyn, New York. And after that, I practiced internal medicine for 20 years, and I had a midlife crisis. I wanted to do some more. I wanted to get into a cardiology specialty because cardiology was my favorite specialty. And while I was waiting to do that, which it was not easy to do in the mid 40s, I was reading different things, see what I could be interested in. And I found this booklet, The Art of Fiction by the author Ayn Rand. Besides writing the famous novels, she wrote this book, nonfiction book. And I was just amazed and really intrigued by finding out that an author can create his own world and then invent characters he wants to meet and then make everything he wants happen. So I
Hmm.
said, I'm going to try writing a novel. That's where my passion for writing actually started. And of course, for my world, I chose the world I knew, the world of medicine. And I love thrillers. So I had never any doubt about my genre. It's going to be a thriller. And so then, but if you think about it, the medical backdrop is ideal for thrillers because we deal for life or death all day,
You got that
and in
right.
cardiology especially. And we have the pressure of time,
Mhm.
and the author quality overlap with the thriller writer because we need to put everything, integrate everything into a whole in the diagnosis or in
Okay.
the mystery.
Okay, Christina,
So
you
that's how it started.
okay. You're interesting. I can tell you that right now. I can already feel that this interview is going to be awesome because
Well,
I'm
thank you.
just I'm excited about your journey, your profile. Uh, you know, having practiced medicine and what have you, and then getting into writing, and especially writing uh, fiction. That's a challenge. I'm an author myself, but I never wrote fiction. I'm excited about people who write fiction. So we're going to talk about this a little bit because
Sure.
you're amazing. Uh,
Well, thank
you
you.
know, as you thought about doing this, and I always like to ask authors this question: there had to be something that motivated you. There had to be something that say, "I want to write. I want to write a book. I want to write a fictional book." Uh, and I can pull all this together. Was there anything like that with you, or is just that you just sat down and just say, "I'm
Well,
gonna write"? I mean, not
reading that book motivating me to write medical thrillers. But the
okay.
specific books, for example, my first book, Dissection, I was actually inspired by a commercial. There was a
Okay.
commercial about aspirin on television where a man received a card that says, "Your heart attack will arrive tomorrow." And then, of course, the commercial goes on. If you take aspirin, you can prevent it. Wouldn't it be nice to know that you're going to get a heart attack? So I was actually depressed at that point because I had found a lot of hurdles in writing books, and I had gotten a coach, and I was not getting anywhere with agents or publishers. So I saw that, and I said, that is the book that's going to get published.
Oh,
And I
okay.
created an entire plot around that one card. I just changed it to "Your heart attack will arrive within an hour." And then I had to invent the entire plot around that. As for my other book, which just came out now, Change of Heart, which has the same two main characters as Dissection. As for that book, I wanted to pick the worst thing that can happen to you in cardiology, which is you need a new heart. Nothing else works. But if you think about it, is a great conflict of interest because you gotta hope that somebody else dies for you to live. So I thought it was
Yeah.
a great beginning for a conflict of interest to start a novel with. And then of course, and I created a whole mystery around that.
You I can't help but laugh. So please excuse me. You are unbelievable. This is
Thank
interesting.
you.
Let me ask you this question then. To just deal with your book a little bit. How do you believe fictional representations like those in your book impact real world understanding and attitudes toward heart transplants and organ donation? I think that's important
Yeah.
for listeners to hear. And
Yeah,
you've
it's
done it.
it's a very good question because the purpose of fiction, it's really not to teach anything or to convince you of anything. The purpose of fiction is to entertain you. You should have
Okay.
a good time reading the book. You should not really
Okay.
be there to learn anything. However, there is nothing wrong with writing a fiction about something important, but it has to be just in the background. The idea has to be concretized. So the author has an idea, it gets concretized into the plot and the action of the character, and the reader is not just passively reading. He sees all these actions while he reads. And then he arrives to his own conclusion, his own idea, which may or may not be the original idea that the author really started with. Of course, he is going to understand some of that, but then he can develop his own opinions.
Hmm.
So that's how I see it. It is a very important subject. There is a
Mhm.
background of very important matters and ethical dilemmas, but they can't just be thrown in the reader's face, so to speak. They have to
Okay.
be integrated into the plot.
I hear you. Like I said, I write myself, and I've just never done fiction fiction books. But
Right.
this is interesting. I'm curious as to how do you create these believable and relatable characters, especially when dealing with complex medical and psychological issues like you've done in your book. How do you do that?
The characters, I have to really live inside the characters.
Oh,
The
okay.
reader can also live inside the characters. Otherwise, they're flat. In order for the characters to be three-dimensional, you have to really put your feet in their shoes. And I'm very comfortable in the male characters, to be
Mm,
honest with you. And it kind of is liberating. For example, Jack Mulville is a gruff, self-centered, undiplomatic FBI
uh,
agent.
uh-huh.
And I love him. He curses
Okay.
often, he talks inappropriately. But at the end of the book, in Dissection, is a hero. And I had a great fun doing that. Some of it I pick and choose from, my relatives or people I get to know. Even when I walk around, I see
Uh,
interesting people, and I store in my subconscious, what could I use this person? What is this person like? What makes him tick? And you kind of store it there. And when you need, you get your inspiration from your subconscious where you have stored stuff. Otherwise, there is no inspiration. You get a writer's block. But that's
mm.
how I create the characters. And then sometimes I get in love with the characters. I couldn't let them go. So I put them in the next book, and I pick a minor character from dissection, a young woman who was helping Jack Mulville saving the world, preventing World War III. And one of the readers wrote me an email and said, at the end of the book, I love the book. At the end of the book, I was ready to hire Bloom. So I hired Bloom for the protagonist on Change of Heart.
Oh, oh boy, this is.
That's how I did the characters there.
Uh, I could tell that.
Fun. It's a lot of fun.
I could tell it. I could tell just by your talk and the excitement in your voice that you really enjoy doing this.
I enjoy doing.
I could tell. I could
Yes.
tell. You know, it's,
I hope readers enjoyed as
uh,
much reading
oh,
as I,
oh,
as I enjoy writing.
I am certain they will because if they listen to this interview, this gotta be something that's gonna compel them because they can feel it within you. How do the compelling stories, of real transplant survivors, reflect the narrative of your novel and add a human element to the discussion? How tell us a little bit about that.
So the background is transplants,
Okay.
and the book starts with a big mystery. Um, the number of heart transplants is just skyrocketing in New York City, and doctors should be happy because we have shortage of organs. That's the important background there. And unfortunately, the heart transplants are going up because the suicides are going up. And these suicides are actually performed in a specific way. First of all, they're performed in front of a hospital, so the heart can be harvested right away. And second, they're performed with precision. People shoot themselves in their head, but they avoid the area of the brain in charge of the heart beating. So the heart keeps on beating despite the fact the brain is destroyed. And all this has happened since supposedly a mobster, a New York City mobster, has hacked into medical records of several hospitals. So this
Christina,
is the
Christina,
mystery that you got to read the book to see how
Christina,
it ends.
let me ask you a question. Do you laugh when you're writing this book?
I do.
I
I
know
do.
you.
Sometimes I do. I like when I have a particular thing on a dialogue that's
I,
particularly clever, I do laugh.
I know you. You have
I
to
love it.
because you got me laughing.
I enjoy it.
It is fun. It is really fun. So, uh, how important is then medical? Because you into this. So, how important is medical accuracy in your writing, and how do you balance it with the need of dramatic storytelling? Because
Yes.
everybody can't do this. You're
Uh,
unique.
it's hard sometimes,
Okay.
to balance so my books are on the fringe of what's really possible today, but it could be possible in the near future. But and it actually is becoming possible. It took me so long to get published some of these things that actually became possible in the meantime.
Oh,
But it's difficult to balance. I have to control myself not to give too many medical details. Otherwise,
okay.
it gets boring. Just to give enough that the readers can understand and follow the story. Because the most important thing is the story.
Right.
To
Right.
have fun reading the story, to be at the edge of your
Oh,
seat. If you got to
okay.
look up some words on the dictionary because you don't understand it, it kind of damps the thrilling.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see.
I have to be careful not
Yeah.
to, but
Yeah.
I have tried to be accurate. I try
Okay.
to be accurate. If when I don't know something, I research it or I call up a colleague if it's a
Hmm.
little bit outside my field,
Okay.
and I
Okay.
make sure that what I
I,
write is
I,
pretty accurate.
I can see that it's got to be humorous. I am certain that you've already uh, you already perked my curiosity. I'll tell you that right now.
Thank you.
This is interesting. Um, don't go nowhere, listeners. You gotta hang on because I gotta ask Christina uh, how you all can get her book or learn more about her. So, Christina, would you share with listeners how they can get your book and how they can just
Sure.
learn more about what you do and in
They
any
can get,
interest?
yeah,
Go
sure.
ahead on. Go ahead
They
on.
can get my books on Amazon and also major bookstores.
Okay.
And they can also find more out about me on my web. And my web is Cristina, Cristina, no H, Leport, LePort, and .com. So that's my
Okay.
web, and they can find a lot of blogs there about Italy and the food there and the holidays,
Okay.
beside obviously medicine and my writing.
Okay. All right. Great. That's sounds interesting. Um, Let me ask you this, a couple more questions concerning your book. Uh, what are your thoughts on the future of transplant medicine? And tell us how uh, do you speculate potential revolutionary changes might solve current ethical and logistical challenges because obviously that's something,
Yeah.
and I don't even know whether you deal with that. I've read some snippets of your book and what reviews are say, but I don't know if you put that in your book. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, there is a shortage of organs. There is no doubt about it.
Hmm.
And we could do a lot of things actually to make it better. We have done a lot of things. One, for example, now we can transport art in a much better way. And I actually describe this in the book. They use this method, which is the heart in a box. In the past, we were transporting hearts in a cooler, those red and white things you go to a picnic with. And the heart would last only 4 hours in a cooler. But now we have this box, and this
Mm,
is here now. And the box has tubes inside that connect to the organ that's been extracted from a donor, and it perfuses the heart with warm and nourishing liquid like blood or other liquid, and the heart starts beating in the box. So
mm,
the heart is amazing. You can see actually movies on Google or YouTube.
mm,
The
mm,
heart beats in the box and it can be transported for 12 hours. So that has expanded the possibility to match somebody, for example, across the country. Because
mhm,
before, you had 4 hours, you couldn't put it in a plane and send it from Los Angeles to New York,
mhm, mhm, mhm.
So that's a good thing. Another
Okay.
thing that could be done and is not done today is illegal, is to pay the donors or the family, compensate them. It's today is illegal, is punishable by $50,000 fine and 5 years of prison.
Mm,
And I don't see why that is, because we pay for things like eggs, we pay for sperm. Why
mhm,
not for organs? And if we actually made it legal to pay for it, and they would be supervised, so that the priority obviously is for the gravity of the illness, is for
mhm,
the genetic matching, we would control all that. But if we actually compensate patient's family, or the donor's family,
mhm, mhm,
then we would have a lot more our donation, and we wouldn't have the illegal market, because now they've calculated there's $1.7 billion can change hands to pay for illegally obtained organs in general in all
mm.
over the world. And can you
Wow.
imagine that? But
Mm,
in the future, I foreseen many different things. One thing is
mhm,
coming now, but again, it opens the door to a lot of ethical dilemmas. Xenotransplantation. You take the organs of an animal, we can modify the genes, and we
mhm.
can transplant them. Another even better thing that's going to come in the future, it's the production of organs in a lab.
Oh,
They're
okay.
going to be able to do that. Not maybe not too
Mm,
not too long, not too long. They can
okay.
3D print an organ.
Mm,
That's what I
wow.
foresee in the
Okay.
future. So
Okay.
we don't need donors.
Right. I
We need a
got you.
cell of, we need cells of the patient's body, and we can maybe generate an organ.
Mm. Wow.
That would be
That's
great, but it's not here yet.
that's
But I
interesting.
foresee it's going to be here in
That
some time.
that's interesting. So, my last question to you is then how much research goes into writing your novels, and what sources do you rely on for accurate medical information? Just tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, a lot of the medical information, obviously, I have because I practiced medicine for more
Uh,
than 40 years. But some of these things may not be exactly into my field. For example, I'm a cardiologist. So, and I'm writing about heart transplant. Well, I haven't done heart transplants in my career. I've witnessed heart transplants and patients for heart transplants. So, for certain details, I had to pick up the phone and call some of my colleagues and verify certain things. And for the mobster part, obviously, I had to do a lot of research. One thing, I had to look for a name that's not taken yet. For real. It was actually hard to find an Italian name that was not already the name of a mobster. And so I picked a wine. I picked Montepulciano.
okay.
And for dissection, there was a lot of political research, which I had to
Mm,
do to get it right about the succession of presidents and what happens if there is a disaster like 9/11, all this
okay.
stuff. So
Mm,
it takes a lot of time but
okay.
I try to choose something that to begin with, I try to choose something. It's better to write about something so you're not
Hmm.
lost, right? I
Right.
mean,
Right.
at
I
least I
got.
have
Okay.
background, so in general, I know what I'm talking
Mm.
about to begin with.
Okay. Kristen, you've been exciting. It's very, very interesting. You've given me some thoughts about I I just never thought about the fiction aspect. I love nonfiction, but this listen to you got to be exciting. So
Good.
thank you so very much for coming on and sharing us. And there you have it, Cristina LePort, the author of Change of Heart. Uh, I know that you will enjoy uh, getting and learning more about her and getting this book. So please do so. And again, thank you, Christina. And
Thank you.
until next time, peace and blessings be with each of you.